So welcome to today's tutorial. For today's tutorial, we'll be learning how to draft and sew a, an handkerchief flare, a top with an handkerchief flare. Okay, so to start with, I folded my material into four, but for you to know what to cut out, I'm working with the flare of length 13 inches. Okay, so 13 inches plus the length of the round waist I'll be cutting out. So I added like 7 inches. Both the 7 inches should be enough for the round waist I'll be cutting out here and also for the sewing allowance. So that makes 20 inches. I measured 20 inches and I folded it into four. Like you can see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I folded it into four, just like this. Fold it this way and this way. So this is how I get what is here. All right. So now to start with, we'll need to calculate our round waist. I'm working with round waist of 36 inches. 36 divided by 4, that is 9 inches. Okay, so what I need here will be 9 inches. And also I'll be needing sewing allowance of 1.5 inch. So 1.5 inch plus 9 inches each is 9 inches is 10.5 inches. So all what we need here is 10.5 inches. Okay, so if you wish, you can make use of your formula to calculate your round waist for the flare. But what I do is I just place my material and my tape rule on the fabric like this to measure what I need. So once I get it, like, okay, I have the mark here, so I'll measure what I have here. I prefer this because there are times calculator may not be just be so will not be handy, will not be around. So I have 6.5 inch here, so I'll be measuring 6 inches. These are 6.5 inches. Okay, so I'll just measure 6 inches round to see what that can give me. But let's remember that we are needing um the circumference of 10, I mean the radius of 10.5 inches. Okay, so let's see. Once I confirm and I've gotten what I wanted, I'll leave it. If not, I'll readjust. So I have 9.5 inches here, so I'll rather increase it to 6.5 so that I can get what I want. Remember, we used 6 before, so now I'm making use of 6.5 inch so that I can get what I want. So let's see. All right, so I have 10.25 here. So this is okay. I'm okay with this. So I'll go ahead and mark out this. So after getting our radius for the round waist, then I'll measure the length. Like I said, I'm working with 13 inches. The length, I want it to be 13 inches, or better still, I can make it, if I don't want to, if I really want to measure it, the waistline is 17 inches to up to the hip line, which is I want to go a bit beyond the hip line, or better still on the hip line, which is 26 inches. But I'll prefer to go beyond that. So I'll do 28 inches. Okay, so the 28 inches will also cover for the sewing allowance. So this is what we have here, 28 inches. Okay, so I'll measure all what we have here together. I have 16 inches here, 16 inches. Okay, so I'll come here and also measure 16 inches. I'll also measure 16 inches. Okay, so I'll measure 16 inches like this. 16 inches. So it's going to be a square. A square. 16 inches. Not a rectangle, but a square. So that's what we are getting. So this is their meeting point. And I'll be connecting. All right. So I'll be connecting. Now, if we want to cut it out like this, we'll go ahead and cut it out. But here is another trick. Okay. So if you want the handkerchief, the edges to fall out very well, you can as well just curve your hand this way. Just like this. You do the same for this side as well. Or for you to know where to where they will meet, you know, you extend this place by 2 inches, bring it down, and also here you're extending here too by 2 inches. So that's around here. So this is the meeting point. You extend here by two, you extend here by two, the meeting point. That is where we will channel our curve. So it's going to be like this. Accuracy is the key. So I won't be working with this anymore. Then on this side as well. Okay. So this is what we are working on. I'll clean this. So this is our new meeting point. All right. So here is the previous one. I'll clean it. I just wanted to give it a more shooting edge. Okay. So like I said, you can add your sewing allowance if you so wish, but I have already calculated my sewing allowance with it. So I'll be cutting it out. So I'll notch the edges. So here is it. And this is what we'll be having at the end of the day. This is how our handkerchief flare will now look like. All right. But still, I will have to open this place, this one of the edges. I'll need to open one of the edges up. And like I said, we added 1.5 inch for the sewing allowance, so I'll be removing that. I'll notch it. Do the same for the down part and notch it. So we'll be cutting the lining in the same manner. Move to the blocks. Okay, so I'm working with 17 inches, half length of 17 inches. So I'll be marking 17 and a half. 17 and a half. So we'll go to our zipper. First of all, I'll be removing half inch here. So I'll measure 1.5 inch for our zipper allowance. Starting from the line I just drew now. So connect it. Then shoulder of 15 inches divided by 2, 7.5, plus half inch sewing allowance 8. Neck width of 4 inches. So come down by 1.5. Connect it. On the shoulder armhole line, come down by 1 inch. Connect it. Extend by ½ inch for your sewing allowance so you won't forget. All right, so you now mark your armhole length, which is 7.5 inch. To get a straight line, make sure you're having the same measurement you have here. Connect it. Set your armhole. Okay, so you input your that starting from 9 inch. Measure your bust pan, 8 inches divided by 2, that's 4. Mark the same 4 inch here. On both sides, ½ inch sewing allowance. To connect. This is just a basic pattern, nothing more, just a basic pattern. I just want to show those of us that still needs to learn something from it. Then our round waist. Remember, we are working with 36 inches divided by 4, that's 9 inches. So 9 inches plus the 1 inches we removed here. Okay, so we have 10 inches. Okay, so I'm working with armhole of 19 inches, 9.5. We connect it. Add my sewing allowance of 1.5 inch. Mark downward as well. Connect. Then here, I'll go up here for the back length. The back length is 15.5 inch. So I'll mark it with ½ inch sewing allowance. So I'll connect it. Here, this one too, the allowance, we have to connect with the allowance. Okay, so we'll cut now. Front, just immediately. I need a straight line here. And I'll add my sewing allowance already. Okay, so now I'll start here. We are working with under bust as our half length because they'll be adjoining at the waistline. Okay, so I'm working with 14 inches as under bust, 10 inches as bust line, all bust off 6 inches, and our shoulder line. I'll mark the same thing here. 10, 6, and then the shoulder line. I'll roll it out. So, shoulder of 8 inches, just like the back. Neck width of 4 inches. We'll come down by 4.5. We'll connect it. Come down on the shoulder by 1 inch. Get your shoulder slope, add your sewing allowance once. Armhole length 7.5. Get your straight line, roll, get the middle, which is 3 3/4, come in by ½ inch, connect it. So this is our armhole. Okay, then we'll come to the, you measure your armhole 9.5 inches. We are measuring 9.5 inches, just like we'll do for the back. Then your round bust of 40 inches. So that will be divided by 4. That's 10 inches. So I'll be removing ¼ inch for tightness. Then I'll come to the under bust of 36 inches. Oh, sorry, under bust of 35 inches. So divided by 4, we'll be having 8 3/4. So I'll be taking the bust span 4 inches. I'll come to the bust line and measure the same 4 inches. I will rule. So here on both sides, I won't be doing ½ inches. I'll be doing 3/4 inch because I want the bust pop out properly. So all together, I'm removing 1.5 inch. Okay. So we'll measure our round waist, which is 36 inches divided by 4. That's 9 inches. 9 plus this 1.5 inch for that. That is 10 inches. 10.5 inches. So we have it here. So I'll connect the armhole to the under bust. I'll add my sewing allowance 1.5 1.5 inch. I'll connect it. It is just a basic pattern as well, nothing more. Okay, so I'll cut it out. Now remember, we stop at the under bust. So from the under bust to the waistline, that's 14 inches. First of all, let us roll our line. I'll add my sewing allowance at once. Okay, so now we need 17 inches for the waistline. All right, I told you the joint we'll be having joining at the waist area. So this is 17 inches waistline. Then we stop at the under bust, which is 14 inches. So we had the joining allowance for the joining ½ inch. So I'll mark the same thing here. 17, we'll mark 14, then extend by ½ inch for the sewing allowance. So I'll connect. So round waist of 36 inches divided by 4, that is a 9 inches. 9 inches plus 1.5 sewing allowance, that's a 10.5 inches. All right. So this is all what we'll be cutting out. We'll notch the center at both ends. So I'll be cutting 2 of this because I'll also be using it for my lining. we already have the exact measurement of what we are having here. Okay, so I'm supposed to cut here. So this is it. I'll notch it too. So I'll use the second one to turn it. So here is it. So we move ahead to the sleeve. So it's going to be a flare sleeve as well. So I folded this material into two, and I'll be folding it on bias like this. So I'm folding on bias like this. So we'll need to get our armhole circumference first. So we are working with armhole of 19 inches by 2. That's 9.5 inch. So we need more than 9.5 inch. We need like probably 13 inches because we are going to be pleating. All right. So wherever we are able to get 13 inches, that is where we will be marking. Okay. So here I'll be measuring 12 inches. I'll measure 12 inches round and let's see what is going to give us. 12 inches. So we have 10 and quarter, and I don't have much sleeve left, so I'll rather stop it at the length here. Is just exactly what we need, so I won't be extending it, which means the pleat is either not going to be having sleeve and pleat or just one or two pleats. Okay, so I'll connect it here. The sleeve length is supposed to be 9 inches, so 9 inches plus half inch here, and then 1 inch down. That's 1.5 plus 9 inches, that should be 10.5. You see what I'm talking about? Here we have just 9 inches left. So we are still going to be working with this length. I don't want to extend it. Or better still, yes, we can still extend it, but we'll have to extend it on the side. Okay. So I'll leave it at 9 inches here. Then I'll mark the sleeve length, which is 10 10 inches. 10 inches plus sorry, 9 inches plus 1.5 inches sewing allowance, half inch for the joining here and 1 inch downward, so it's going to be 10.5 inches. Okay, so I'll mark 10.5 inches here, and I'll keep marking 10.5 inches. Okay, so now I will be covering this place because I don't want this place to be as long as this place. I don't know if you understand, so I'll be curving it in so that at the end of the day they will almost meet. They'll almost meet. So this is our sleeve here. I'll be showing us what we have just cut. Everything we cut, I cut the lining the same way. I use it to cut out the lining the same way. The same way. Okay, so I'll be showing us one after the other. This is the handkerchief flare. You can see the shape. So I sew the lining with it and I use it to turn it and I hand iron it. So I don't know if you can't see the full result now, but you can see the way the result it's giving us. You can see the shape here. Okay, so this is it. I turned it on every side. This is the sewing allowance. This is the zipper line. Okay, and there is no other stitch in between. You can see all through, no other stitch. So we are having a neat finishing here. Okay, so we move to the sleeve. This is the sleeve. I cut out, I use it to cut out another one and I reduce the length. So I'll be placing it on top of it like this. So it's 3 inches differences. Okay, 3 inches is the difference. So it's going to be two layers, two steps, like you see, and it's also I also turn it with the lining. Okay, so we have two of this for both sleeve. All right, so we also have the back. This is the back. I cut out the lining, sew it, and turn it. This is the back. Okay, so we also have the front. This is the front. I turned it around the neck and the side as well. Okay, so and we also have the joining. The joining is going to be here. Remember, this is our under bust. So, and this will be our from under bust to the to waist. So there's going to be a joining, like I said, and I cut out two. I'm using the Ankara for the lining for this cut out. Okay, so we are going to be joining it this way. I added interfacing to everything I cut. Okay, because it's a full lining. So this is how we are going to be turning it. I'll go ahead and take my dart. Here, I notch out the center, mark out my dart point, which is bust span divided by 2. Okay, so after taking the dart, I will now use this, place this like this, put another one underneath like this. So I'll stitch it here and cover it up this way with the one under two as well. So we have our shoulder to waist line. Hope you get that. So we are going to be doing what I said now. So I've taken my dart. This is my dart. Okay. So after your dart, just measure out 1 inch. You can see it's not straight. Okay. So we are going to be having this like as our side dart. So I measure 1 inch here, and the same on the other side, on this side as well. Okay. So I'll be cutting that out. Okay, so I didn't cut up to 1 inch. I think it's around 3/4 inch. I don't want to go too deep. So you just slant it down to the that point, from side to that, from side to that. So this is more like our side that we have taken out, so that we'll have a straight line here. Okay, so look at it. It's not a bustier, but it is popping out because I took 3/4 inch that instead of half. Okay, so at this point, we will now start joining. Remember, I explained how I'll be joining the down part to you. So after joining the down part, I'll start joining. The first thing I will be doing is to join the back and the front block together. I will have to join it at the shoulder and also at the side. All right. So this is the stage we have. I've attached the sleeve. This is the sleeve. Okay. So when you are up to this stage, the next thing is for you to add the peplum, the handkerchief flare. Okay, so this is the center. You fold it into two like this and notch your center. You can see this is my center. Okay, so I've notched it. This is my center. I've notched it. Okay, so I'll also be getting the center of my flare of the peplum. Fold it into two as well. You fold it into two as well, and then we have our center here. So we have our center here. So I will be aligning the center of the peplum to the center of the center front of this. Then I'll stitch from center to side, from center to side, just to join the two of them together. Then after this, I'll be adding my zip at the back. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and click on the notification button. See you in my next video. Bye.